Right, kinky, we didn't meet. Can't believe that. Hey, Breaking Points is controlled opposition by the propaganda department of the deep state, aka mainstream media. Come on, guys. It couldn't possibly be that.
Guys, we volunteered for that, guys.
Come on, guys.
Okay.
Back to Jimmy.
Biden administration admits flying 320,000 migrants secretly into the United States to reduce the number of crossings at the border.
What?
Why are they telling us if it's a secret?
If you needed, why are they telling us if this is secret? Right? Everybody knows that immigrants are much better behaved if you fly them in rather than have them walk in. Terrorists would never think of using airplanes.
I guess that's why a wall won't work.
Wow. If you needed any more proof that the President of the United States is wandering lost in the shopping mall of his brain right now, here it is. They can't see. This is they're doing
to reduce the crossings at the border.
Putting Joe Biden in charge of the border is like putting Alec Baldwin to teach a gun safety class.
Come on, his best friend was killed by a crazy gun.
Joe Biden's administration has admitted to transporting migrants on secret flights into the United States, and lawyers for its immigration agencies claim revealing the locations could create national security vulnerabilities. So they don't tell you where they flew them into. Wow. Customs and Borders Protection has refused to disclose crucial information about a program last year arranging flights for thousands of undocumented immigrants from foreign airports directly to the United States cities. Well, so this has been happening since last year, so they must really know what they're doing. Right?
Yeah.
Where do I sign up to be an undocumented worker and grab me some of that sweet air travel? I'd like to get one of those flights back from Oslo if I could. I'm going to be there on the 9th.
Yeah, they just start picking up like COVID checks.
It means that while record numbers of migrants were flowing over the southern border last year, the Biden White House was also secretly transporting them into the country. Use of a cell phone app has allowed for the near undetected arrival by air of 320,000 aliens with no legal right to enter the United States.
Well, Congress needs to give him a bill to make it stop. He wants to stop it.
And you know the shitlibs are going to spin this and some kind of a pod. They're going to say, well, this is going to boost local economies. Yeah, if by local economies you mean forcing people out of their housing situations to accommodate the influx and forcing them to find new digs, then I guess it will boost. Who's going to fill our private prisons without them? Come on, am I right? Who will march headlong into their own demise just for a crack at a GED without them? It comes after a controversy over a 2022 transportation program in which the administration used taxpayer money to move migrants throughout the country on overnight flights.
Nice.
Included in details of a Freedom of Information lawsuit request first reported by Todd Bensman, the Center for Immigration Studies found Biden's CBP approved the latest secretive flights that transported hundreds of thousands of illegal immigrants from foreign countries into at least 43 different American airports from January through December of 2023. The program was part of Biden's expansion of the CBP One app, which kicked off at the start of last year. Migrants were able, under Biden's expansion, to apply for asylum using the app from their home countries. But the Center for Immigration Studies notes that the transportation of these migrants directly to the U.S. is one of the lesser-known uses of the app.
You don't say.
Really? Why would they want to hide this?
Guys.
Shouldn't they be proud that they're flying immigrants to help with our pressing underpopulation problem in the United States?
Yeah, and the wages are too high.
Okay. Aliens who cannot legally enter the United States, they use this CBP app, One app, to apply for travel authorization and temporary humanitarian release from those airports. Under the parole release, migrants are able to remain in the United States for 2 years without obtaining legal status, and meanwhile are eligible for work authorization. Wow, living in America for 2 years without any documentation whatsoever, and they still want you to take your laptop out of your suitcase and your shoes off at the airport, and you can't fly without a document. You can, but they can.
With your money.
With your money. The administration first said it would not reveal which airports the undocumented aliens were transported, citing a law enforcement exception in the refusal to hand over information. But new information from the CIS lawsuit reveals the locations were not disclosed due to fear of bad actors would inflict harm on the public safety, or the information would create law enforcement. So they fear bad actors. Hey, I wouldn't worry about Michael Rappaport at this point.
Yeah.
He's too busy trying to headbutt his own cell phone all day in New York, okay? CBP lawyers wrote that revealing the airports would reveal information about the relative number of individuals arriving and thus resources expended at particular airports. That would in turn reveal operational vulnerabilities that could be exploited by bad actors altering their patterns of conduct, adopting new methods of operation, and taking other... This is such...
What a load of bullshit.
What a load of fucking bullshit this is. They added this could thereby undermine the CBP's law enforcement efforts to secure the United States border. Are you fucking kidding? But Republicans insist that the southern border is not secure. And so they're saying they're doing this so they could secure the border? CIS says the secretiveness of these flights are legally dubious and claims since the CBP will not disclose the locations for fear of grave consequences, it is likely not a program that should continue.
Really?
Oh, you think?
Hey, why isn't Biden bragging about the great work he's doing to stop all the southern border crossings? He did this for this, right? You think he'd be touting this and we'd hear it on Breaking Points?
Lawyers also did not disclose the locations of foreign airport departures, making it unclear where the migrants are even coming from.
We know.
But those eligible for the CBP-1 applications are citizens from Cuba, Haiti, Venezuela, Nicaragua, El Salvador, Guatemala, Honduras, Colombia, and Ecuador.
All the places we've helped over the years.
All the places we've helped over the years. Meaning by economically sanctioning them, screwing them over economically, making it a living hell for those people, and turning them into migrants. And then the United States sends them a fucking plane ticket and says, come to the United States. You think your country's hell because we just put sanctions economically on it and we turned your place into a hell? Well, come to our country and suppress wages here and cause chaos here, which always favors the establishment. And again, this isn't to demonize migrants. This is to demonize the Biden administration for fucking doing this, for putting economic sanctions on those countries and creating the situation that makes those people want to flee their own country. And then having an open border and literally flying those people in here and not making them be documented for over 2 years. This is so outrageous, I can't even believe it.
You see Haiti now?
I'm actually shocked by this. What about Haiti?
You see the new Haiti panic?
Yeah,
if you're right wing, like, oh, great, from the shithole countries, they're cannibals down there. Remember we had Dan Cohen. Were you here when Daniel Cohen was it? And Jimmy Barbecue, they're saying he's a cannibal warlord.
Yeah, I know. The guy's actually trying to do things for the people, of course.
Yeah, so they made up, and no one's going to know the truth. Who the hell's going to look into it?
That's right. No one's going to look into it.
We'll call him a shithole. Oh, he's a shithole that we made on purpose that for the crime of overthrowing slavery.
That's what. Go ahead.
Human flesh is underrated. I had a really interesting conversation with a guy, Daniel Castellanos. I think the name of his organization is Congresso. When I was down in Louisiana, I went to an event to draw attention to mass incarceration because, Louisiana had the highest prison population in America. And then they did some reforms and cut the prison population. Now they're reforming it back. They're bringing back the fucking electric chair. The name of their favorite electric chair is Gruesome Gertie, which they're planning on bringing out of the museum. But I was talking to him, and he was from, I believe, Peru. And they advertised in Peru after Katrina that you would get $16 an hour wage if you came to the United States. And then when they came up here, they were advertising to the state and the federal government that they were going to get a $16 an hour wage. And when they came up here, they were getting $6.02 an hour to rebuild New Orleans. And they were saying this is an untold story. You never see it in the pictures. You never see in the pictures all of the people they brought in from Latin America to basically work as slave labor, rebuilding Louisiana. And then he was saying, and then once they brought us in, you had the black people here had always done the shrimp peeling and preparing, and they would get $14 an hour for that. And then at first they hired the Latinos and they would pay them $14 an hour. And then they decided they could suppress the wage. They started paying them by the pound. And it was saying to get to $14, the number of pounds you have to do. And now black people won't do the job. And they drove down the wage. And he was basically saying this is that he himself said that they brought us in here to suppress the wages for everybody. Like that was his own observation about why he and others from his region had been brought into the country. So we've been saying that, we've talked about that on this show. It is not the fault of these people, that, as you say, American foreign policy has driven them to these desperate measures of coming to the United States. And then when they get here, they're exploited and they're used to destroy the wages of the native born, creating tensions between them. It's not the fault of these people. We're all being pitted against each other.
I don't blame trafficked prostitutes for being brought into America illegally.
Right.
Who would do that? So I don't really believe this thing that people are like, oh, I hate the immigrants. I think that's a thing, like a regular, big city shit liberal idea to go, oh, now you idiots don't blame the immigrant. Nobody's doing that. People aren't stupid. They know what legal and illegal immigration is. Nobody at the top seems to. They all just call it immigration. Or every single goddamn pundit show, they don't make any distinction between basically trafficking people openly and a legal process, which is immigration. But the real population is not that dumb. I mean, they don't remember things because they got to, work for low wages. But people understand the difference between that. It's just on TV. You got to watch Biden. Oh, legals do crime.
Well, we're going to do that next. Anything you have to add to this, Keaton? You're very quiet.
No, it's okay. It's very strange because I remember, I didn't dream this. I remember covering on our show, for the first year and a half or so of Biden's time in office, the story was not that the border was open. The story was that the cages were full and that there was a logjam at the border and that the Mexican facilities were full to the point where the migrant centers south of the border were overflowing and migrants were living lives of desperation on the streets of Mexican cities. And then at some point it turned where now all of a sudden the border is open. I don't know. Was it all of the above happening at once? Is it just that there's such a volume of people that they detained some of them and some got through? Was there a shift right around the time of the hot labor summer? That's what, some people are noticing. Hey, just as labor started getting power, we started having this open border. But it's a strange thing because I know I didn't imagine first year or two of Joe Biden, it was, why are our cages full? Of course, under Biden, they don't call them cages. Under Biden, they call them detention facilities. Under Trump, they're cages, right? But they were all full. And now all of a sudden, the border seems to be open.
It's definitely here to suppress wages. There's no, that's a definite. And they're doing it. And what Joe Biden's executive orders when he got in was to take away all the surveillance on the borders. And I had a guy who worked for ICE, came to our show in Palm Springs, and he was Hispanic, and he worked for ICE, and he said that he got sent to the border and to help with and he said, everybody down there is depressed. The border people who worked, he said, they're like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
They're like, we don't even know what we're doing. And because the policy isn't for them to enforce a border. The policy is to flood the United States with immigrants, illegal and And doesn't matter if they're documented, undocumented. They want them here. They want chaos, and they want to suppress wages, and they want you to try to get angry at the immigrants instead of being angry at the establishment that is making your life a living hell and denying you wages and denying you health care and denying you infrastructure and denying you mental health facilities and denying you health care and education while they fund money laundering operations like the Ukraine war and while they have a wide open border to do the rest of their dirty work. And in the meantime, they're going to be rolling out central banking digital currency so they can turn it off. If you get pissed off about any of this and you want to protest, all they have to do is call you a cyber terrorist, saying you're printing misinformation or you're posting misinformation on the internet. That makes you a cyber terrorist, and they can turn off your bank account and they can disappear you. You'll become a non-person. I think I read about stuff like this happening in a book in 1984 when I was in college, but I can't remember. Anyway,
it's been going on for years, by the way. They've been kicking people off of every kind of app and every other thing. Which is fascism, by the way.
Which is fascism, and the Young Turks were 100% for it when I was with them, which was another reason why I had to get the hell out of that fucking neoliberal nightmare of a goddamn CIA repeating talking point bullshit pretend news fucking organization. Those people are worse than worthless. They are detrimental to America, and they talk about real grifters taking $20 million from Hillary Clinton's donors and then saying you're there to tell the truth and then lying that you paid that money back. Cenk Uygur went on the Hill and lied that they paid that money back, and they didn't pay. That wasn't a loan. That was an investment in their company. So now Katzenberg owns the Young Turks. That's what that's about. It's not about loaning them. That wasn't a loan. That was an investment. That's why Katzenberg had someone that's on their corporate board. I'm making this about something else. Anyway, okay.
Talking Points, good name for Breaking Points. Talking Points.
Yes, over to stuff.
Hey, thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking on that button down there for more AM Joy and the rest of MSNBC. And click on any of the videos right here to watch the latest interviews and highlights. And you can get more videos from MSNBC for free every day with our newsletter. Just visit